The fear is back, a chilling echo from a past we thought we'd buried. For decades, nuclear war seemed like a relic of the past, a dark chapter closed in the history books. A black and white memory, fading with each passing year, something distant and unreal. But now it's in the headlines, splashed across every screen and printed on every page. It's in the pronouncements, in the carefully chosen words of world leaders, a stark reminder of the fragility of peace. The unthinkable feels possible again, a creeping dread settling over the world. People are turning to online nuclear blast simulators, seeking answers in the digital realm, typing in their cities, their hometowns, the places they hold dear, watching grim animations unfold, witnessing the potential devastation in simulated reality. It's more than morbid curiosity. It's a primal urge to understand the threat. It's a search for understanding, a desperate attempt to grasp the incomprehensible. A way to confront our deepest fears, to stare into the abyss and try to make sense of it. These simulations offer a false sense of clarity, a deceptive illusion of control. Mapping out destruction in neat circles, quantifying the unthinkable with sterile precision. But they can't show the true horror, the human cost that numbers can never capture. The sound, the deafening roar that would obliterate everything, the heat, the unbearable inferno that would consume all in its path, the suffering, the unimaginable pain and loss that would scar generations. We're armed with facts about kilotons and blast radii, technical details that offer a veneer of understanding. But the scale of devastation is overwhelming, dwarfing our capacity to truly comprehend it. The simulation ends, the screen fades to black, but the unease remains. But the questions linger, haunting us long after the program is closed. What would it really be like? What would we do? Could anyone survive? Could humanity endure such a catastrophe? This renewed anxiety forces us to see the world differently, to appreciate the fragile peace we often take for granted. The weapons built generations ago are still here, lurking in the shadows. More powerful, more destructive than ever before, more numerous, stockpiled in arsenals around the globe. In more hands, increasing the risk of miscalculation or deliberate use. The threat is no longer abstract. It's not just a theoretical possibility. It's a real concern, a tangible danger that hangs over us all, discussed at dinner tables and online, debated in the halls of power and whispered in our homes. These digital tools are more than just games. They are a stark reminder of what's at stake. They're conversation starters for a topic many would rather ignore, forcing us to confront uncomfortable truths. They remind us of the stakes, the potential for utter annihilation, and the urgent need to prevent the unimaginable from becoming reality, to work towards a future free from the threat of nuclear war. The fear is no longer history. It's not a relic of the Cold War. It's now a present danger that demands our attention and action. To truly grasp the sheer scale and impact of a nuclear explosion, we need to understand how experts analyze its effects. Experts meticulously break down the affected area into distinct zones, each characterized by a different level of destruction and potential for survival. These zones are often visualized as concentric rings radiating outwards from the point of impact, rings of escalating danger. At the very center lies the fireball radius, the zone of unimaginable heat and energy. This is ground zero, the epicenter of the blast. Here, within the fireball radius, everything is instantly vaporized by the extreme temperatures. There is no chance of survival in this zone, no survival. Moving outwards, we encounter the heavy blast damage radius, a region subjected to immense pressure. Here, the shockwave is so powerful that it obliterates even heavily reinforced concrete buildings, reducing them to rubble. In this zone, survival is virtually impossible due to the sheer force of the blast. Further out still lies the moderate blast damage zone. Here, homes collapse under the force of the blast, and debris becomes a deadly projectile, flying through the air at high speeds. Fatal injuries are highly likely in this zone, even if the initial blast doesn't prove immediately fatal. The intense pressure wave alone can cause severe internal damage, rupturing organs and causing debilitating injuries. In these inner zones, closest to the epicenter, the outcome is almost always fatal, a testament to the destructive power unleashed. Beyond the blast zones, we reach the thermal radiation radius. This zone brings with it intense heat, capable of causing devastating burns. The effects are severe burns, the outbreak of widespread fires, and the potential for flash blindness, even at considerable distances. The light damage radius extends even further outwards, marking the edge of the immediate destructive effects. Here, the primary danger is shattering windows, which creates a shower of flying glass debris that can cause serious injuries. In this outer zone, the immediate threat of complete vaporization fades away, offering a glimmer of hope. However, new and equally dangerous threats begin to emerge, presenting a different kind of challenge. Survival becomes a distinct possibility in this zone, offering a chance to rebuild and recover. But the challenges that survivors face are immense, requiring resilience and resourcefulness in the face of unimaginable adversity. The initial blinding flash of the explosion quickly gives way to widespread chaos and confusion. The aftermath is characterized by uncontrolled fires, scattered debris blocking escape routes, and a new, insidious, and invisible threat that permeates everything. That threat is radioactive fallout. These zones, therefore, aren't just abstract lines drawn on a map for analysis. They represent a grim countdown, each zone marking a different stage of destruction and a different level of risk. Each ring tells a different story of survival, loss, and the enduring human spirit. But all are ultimately united by the common thread of devastation and the long road to recovery. The further you are from ground zero, the better your odds of surviving the initial blast. However, in the face of such immense power, no one can truly claim to be completely safe from the long-term consequences. The initial blast is only the beginning of a much longer and more complex struggle for survival. The real test of survival truly begins in those outer rings, where the immediate destruction gives way to a different set of challenges. And even then, the dangers are far from over, as the long-term effects of radiation and societal collapse continue to pose a significant threat. Let's take a closer look at those initial three zones, the areas closest to the epicenter. Understanding the effects in these zones is crucial to grasping the sheer destructive power of a nuclear blast. At ground zero, within the fireball radius, the devastation is absolute. Matter itself is torn apart, instant erasure, no pain, no warning. Everything is vaporized in a fraction of a second. Moving outward, we enter the heavy blast damage zone. Here, the shock wave is a wall of unimaginable force, traveling at supersonic speeds. Internal organs are crushed, buildings are flattened, and bodies are thrown like debris. Survival in this zone is statistically impossible. The moderate blast damage zone is different, but only slightly. The level of destruction is still catastrophic. Buildings collapse, their structural integrity completely compromised, and debris becomes deadly projectiles, raining down on everything below. In this zone, the odds of survival are slim, a desperate gamble against overwhelming forces. The air is filled with glass, wood, and metal, a swirling vortex of destruction. Each fragment is a potential weapon, capable of inflicting grievous wounds. Even if you survive the initial blast wave, a monumental feat in itself, the environment is a death trap, a landscape of shattered buildings and hidden dangers. In all three zones, the outcome is almost always fatal, a grim testament to the weapon's power. Vaporization, overpressure that crushes with immense force, or lethal impact from flying debris. The laws of physics dictate the result, a cold and uncaring equation of destruction. For anyone within these radii, the story ends in seconds, a blink of an eye before oblivion. The world is reduced to fire, pressure, and violence, a maelstrom of destructive forces. It's destruction on a scale that defies imagination, a scene ripped from the pages of a nightmare. The inner zones are a stark reminder of the awesome and terrible power unleashed. Nuclear weapons leave no room for hope at the center, only a void where life once existed. The only certainty is devastation, a guarantee of utter ruin and unimaginable suffering. The further you are from ground zero, the more your chances of survival improve, but only slightly, a marginal increase in the face of overwhelming odds. The blast's brutality is absolute, a merciless force that leaves nothing untouched. Moving outward, we reach the thermal radiation radius. Here, a blinding flash arrives instantly, causing permanent blindness to anyone looking at the detonation. Severe burns are common, exposed skin scorched in a moment, clothing igniting, the landscape catching fire. Beyond that, the light damage radius extends for miles. Windows shatter, sending glass flying like daggers. Homes are damaged, roofs torn off, walls buckled. Survival is possible, but injuries are likely. Deep cuts, burns, and trauma. Being indoors, away from windows, can mean the difference between life and death. The thermal pulse is blocked by solid objects. Shadows can save you from burns. But surviving the first minute is just the start. Fires spread, air fills with dust, and fallout is on its way. The initial blast is over, but the true horror is just beginning. The environment is now hostile. Our image of nuclear weapons is shaped by old footage, Hiroshima, Nagasaki black and white tests, but today's bombs are exponentially more powerful. Hiroshima's bomb was 15 kilotons. Modern warheads are measured in megatons, 1 million tons of TNT. A single warhead can be 50 or 100 times more destructive, expanding the zones of devastation across entire cities. Fireballs over a mile wide, blast zones swallowing metropolitan areas. Survival advice from the past is now tragically outdated. Modern weapons can create firestorms, alter weather, and rain radioactive fallout over vast regions. The stakes are higher than ever, and the responsibility to prevent their use is immense. The power to destroy has grown, and so has the urgency to stop it. After the blast, a new threat descends: radioactive fallout. The mushroom cloud carries irradiated dust and ash for miles, contaminating everything it touches. Fallout emits gamma rays, high-energy particles that penetrate walls and bodies, damaging cells and DNA. The first signs of radiation sickness: nausea, vomiting, hair loss. The body's defenses collapse, blood cells dwindle, infections take hold, internal bleeding begins. Radiation sickness is agonizing and often fatal depending on the dose. Even those who survive the blast may succumb to the invisible poisons settling over the land. Every breath, every sip of water adds to the dose. Fallout turns entire regions into forbidden zones, poisoned for generations. The danger lasts for days, weeks, even years. Survival of the blast can be a hollow victory. Fallout is the long, slow tale of nuclear catastrophe. It's the silent killer that lingers. We don't have to imagine the long-term effects. History has shown us. Chernobyl wasn't a bomb, but its radioactive plume drifted across Europe, contaminating land, water, and food. Decades later, the area remains dangerously radioactive, a ghost town reclaimed by nature but still poisoned. The human cost: first responders died from acute radiation, children developed thyroid cancer, and millions live with the consequences. The impact of radiation doesn't end when the shaking stops. It unfolds over generations. It poisons land, food, and people, causing cancers and diseases for decades. Any use of nuclear weapons is an attack on the future itself. The shadow of nuclear disaster is long and unforgiving. Survival may seem impossible, but there are steps that can help, especially in the outer zones. The most important: get inside, away from windows, and stay there. The moments between the flash and the shockwave are your only chance to find cover. A basement or the center of a sturdy building offers the best protection from blast and fallout. Stay inside for at least 24 to 48 hours. Fallout is most dangerous at first. Have water, food, and a battery-powered radio for updates. If you were outside, remove contaminated clothing and wash off dust as soon as possible. Don't use conditioner. It can trap radioactive particles in your hair. Listen to emergency broadcasts for instructions. Cell service and internet may be gone. The radio becomes your lifeline. Follow official guidance for evacuation and safety. In chaos, these simple steps can make the difference. Remembering them could save your life. Ultimately, survival is a matter of luck. Location is everything. If you're near ground zero, nothing can save you. Distance is your only shield. Even further away, luck still rules. Wind direction, building type, and timing all matter. Survival may come down to being in the right place at the right time, but knowledge matters too. Quick action, getting inside, sheltering, decontaminating, can turn slim odds into real chances. These steps are about taking control where you can. The hope is that this knowledge is never needed. Understanding the horror is meant to reinforce our determination to prevent it. The ultimate survival strategy isn't in a bunker,